Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Happy Sunday. I had to come on early tonight. Usually, I do my sub chat Sundays at 7 Central. I apologize. I've got an internet technical issue going on. So, I had to kind of MacGyver a solution so I could come on for a little bit tonight. So, please forgive me for that. So I do sub chats on Sundays, although lately I've been doing them quite a bit more to keep the trolls at bay. But typically Sunday is the only night that I go sub only. Again, I'm on way early tonight. I apologize for that, but my internet has been out all day, and right now I'm kind of on borrowed time. So forgive me for that. Hello, hi James. Hello Trish. Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to see you. I'm glad you could be here. Again, I apologize. My timing's a little off, but this is just kind of what I had to do for tonight. Oh, I know, Cynthia. Oh, anger. Oh, I know. Oh, the anger's real. I hear ya. I hear ya. I think right now there's just, we're recalibrating everybody. We're recalibrating. We have to figure out where to go. Hello, Chris. Good to see you. Welcome in. Yeah, we've got to kind of figure our path forward. And I think there are two groups I've noticed, everyone. Let me know how you feel about it. There's two groups. There's the one group that's like, well, we got to all come together. And then there's the group that's like, you are unalive to me now. So there's really two groups. And it's fascinating to watch, or as I like to say, Martin Luther King group, or the Malcolm X group. It's up to you, Connor. It's up to you. Do you feel angry or not? I think whatever you feel is just fine, so long as we're not harming other people. I think that's really the key. Yes, I know. Hi, Suze. Yes, I am. Malcolm X. Hey, they're both amazing people. They just had two different styles. So, and nothing wrong with, feeling angry at this point. Between numb, sad, and bewildered. Oh, I won't ever support them. I think we all lose. Yes, I think you're right, Tay. All my energy and empathy is reserved for those of us who are forced to endure him. And, CJ, I think that's a great way of putting that. Well, hello, Kristen. I think that's a really good way of describing it. We don't have unlimited sources for, or unlimited kindness or energy. We have a limit. And so now we've got to be very strategic about where you put your energy for sure, because clearly there are people that are not interested in, our energy and our time and effort, and that's fine. But we have to make sure then we don't use up all of our energy. Sad and scared. Yeah. Oh, watch the news. Oh, I know. Yeah. It's gonna be crazy, everybody. It's gonna be a crazy road. Ignorance can't be validated. Well, that's the thing is, and one of my sayings that I have in my world is that you can't reward bad behavior. You just can't do that, or they won't learn. Oh no, hold on 1 minute. Atticus, no, Atticus, no. No. Yikes. Oh my goodness. Sorry everybody, just a minute. Sorry about that. Atticus has been kind of grumpy the last couple of days. I don't know why he's so grumpy. But anyway, there we go. Cat is taking care of it. He's been kind of, I don't know, he's been rage zooming all over the place. So anyway, I got him down. I had to put some stuff away. So hello, Willie B. Hello. Welcome in. So I think, I don't know, sometimes I feel like he's expressing how I feel, but in cat form. Exactly right. Yep. We have midterms in 2 years. Well, exactly right, Navy vet. And also keep in mind that we only really have 1 year before people start campaigning. So for that reelection, because they usually go out before, about a year before, 9 months before, to start campaigning. So I'm looking at it like we really only have 1 year. Now, don't get me wrong, there can be a lot of damage done in 1 year, for sure. For sure. So we're going to, we're going to see that. We're going to see that. I thought tonight, everyone, again, and like I said, I'm super early for my sub chat, but I had to I'm having some technical issues over here. So I thought tonight, rather than, I have been going through the Constitution, which I will continue to do. That's going to be one of my ongoing series. And then I also have the P25 that I will be reading through. Those will be my two primary topics for all of my lives over the next couple of weeks. Also, along with any updates that may come up here and there. So I thought for tonight, we could hello, So Unique, welcome. Because we have less people commenting tonight, I thought we could go ahead and take a look at some of the executive orders that Mr. Trump had put into place at the last time he was in office, and then they were revoked by Joe Biden. So I thought, well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of those to give you some idea or some kind of way of thinking of what might happen. So it's not exactly, cutting edge, but I thought it would be helpful. I think knowledge is power. So I have with me then here the executive orders for the last 3 years for Joe Biden, and then Joe Biden. And then we have Mr. Trump's executive orders. So, again, it's not really, fascinating for some people, but this is the weeds. We're going into the weeds to take a look and see what we're talking about. And when we go in and talk about and think about the president and the presidential powers, we have a relatively small amount of power that the president really has. He's got plenty to do, plenty of damage, but also not all of it. So for the president, we think, well, what law can he actually change? Well, first, we got to take a look and see, now that he is the head of the party. So he is the leader of the party. And that means for Congress, he's going to be talking with Congress and they're going to be working together. But it's still I wouldn't say it's going to be a slam dunk every time, because I don't think everybody in Congress is at the same level within their party. So we do not have a 2/3 majority or supermajority for one party or the other, which means there are certain things that won't be able to do. Executive are only executive. Well, right. But they can do a lot of damage. They certainly can do a lot of damage. So this is kind of a heads up. This isn't fear mongering. This isn't a, oh my gosh moment. This is just, this is how they work. So here's the party. So he's in charge of that. And but he still needs the help or assistance of Congress. And when he goes to get his cabinet members going through and those kinds of things, we got to take a look at that. The next thing that really is where he can do some damage are going to be these executive orders. So again, this is executive orders set out by the president. This has been an ongoing issue probably for the last, well, let's be real. It's been going on since the war in Korea. All right, I'm just going to put it out there. Executive orders and the amount of power that a president has to implement them has been an ongoing issue, and something that the other two branches really fight the president with. We've had multiple situations. And also, let me just tell you, who is it that can stop an executive order? Well, the judiciary branch, right? What happens is that these executive orders get put into place, and then the state governors, the state AGs or attorney generals, then sue, essentially, sue for injunctive relief in order to get the executive order overturned. And usually the executive order will be stayed, so it will not be able to be implemented until it makes it all the way through the system. And as we know, that takes some time, right? It takes some time. Yes, yes. So Cynthia, and I get that. But it still takes time to get to the Supreme Court, first of all, let's note that. And then also, I've kind of done a couple of pieces where we've got 3 guaranteed liberals, pretty much, and then 3 guaranteed conservative, pretty much. And then we have 3 wild cards with 2 leaning right and 1 leaning left. So it's not a slam dunk. Again, it's not absolutely a slam dunk on the Supreme Court. It certainly isn't ideal, but it's not just, it's worth the time it takes to fight, is what I'm trying to say, in front of the Supreme Court. Congress can override executive orders with a 2/3 vote in the House and the Senate. Yes, but I'm not seeing a 2/3. I'm not seeing 2/3 for anybody in Congress right now. I don't believe they'll be able to come together enough to do that. But also, there's a couple of things to note about executive orders, everybody. Since the beginning, back in the day where, everyone was wearing their wigs. Oh, my goodness gracious. The presidents put in these executive orders, and then the next president that comes in will revoke about half of the prior president's orders. That's just normal. So on day one, I have no doubt that Mr. Trump will come in with a whole bunch of new executive orders to revoke Joe Biden's executive orders that they don't like. That's why I think it's good to take a look at the orders that Biden's put into place so we can see what's going to be slashed. And that's just how it goes. And that's what Biden did on his first day in office, was he went in and revoked a ton of Mr. Trump's orders. And so, it kind of goes back and forth. And Mr. Trump, when he came into office, pulled a whole bunch of Obamas. So that is something that is very normal and typical when a new administration comes in. So keep that in mind. There's going to be a lot of press. There's going to be a lot of him sitting at a desk holding up what he has been told is an executive order with his signature on it. That's going to happen. So I think it's important to be prepared for that. Also, not every one of Mr. Trump's executive orders were revoked. We still have a lot of his executive orders that are still in place that were not pulled. So they are still good law. And that means those kinds of executive orders, everybody agreed to kind of keep in place. So keep that in mind also. Not necessarily a silver lining, but just, this is kind of how it goes. This is how it works. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time reading through all the details, but I'm going to point you to where these different executive orders came from and what number they are, so you have a good idea kind of what we're looking at here. Again, the first stack that I have are executive orders from Mr. Trump. The second stack I have are executive orders from Joe Biden. All right. So here we go. Still worried about Schedule F. Yes, and we got to you set them up and knock them down. That's going to be what happens from this moment forward. We're going to have to realize that these things are going to happen, and you need to insulate yourself from the harm. And also remember 2016, right? Remember what it was like when he was in office. It wasn't great. It was a lot of work. And the other thing too, and I'm not sure about you, but I think the resistance is taking a very different shape this time around than the last time. So, well, let's take a look first, everyone. Before we dive too far in, I printed out here the cabinet positions. So this is not all of the federal agencies. These are the cabinet positions. There are 15 cabinet positions where the president appoints somebody to be in charge of that agency. Typically, you will have someone that's a president that says who's got the most experience, but is party driven, which means every president will pull in someone pretty much from their own party to be the head of these different administrative agencies, right? That just happens. That's just what happens. You've got political appointees, and then you have regular civil service people that have just been there forever. And so these are the political appointees. So prepare yourself. We're going to have some political appointees here, and they're not going to be appointees that are just experts in this area. No, they're going to be loyalists, and that's how he's going to pack his cabinet. Unfortunately, the bad part about doing that is that they won't know what they're doing, which could lead to harm. But on the other side of that, because they don't know what they're doing, maybe they won't be able to do too much harm until they get it sorted out. So that's good and bad. The other thing too is, in the bad part again, is that it's going to be loyalists. So they are going to be trying to do whatever Mr. Trump and his people want them to do, as opposed to what's best. How can we do that when they potentially directly impact us? That's where I'm stuck. Well, that's where we're all stuck. I think if we if we can get a heads up, then that's when we can start figuring out a way around it, a way so that it's not so difficult. That's what was funny back then. It was. Yeah, our comedians are going to need to step up. Hey, we need you. And Tina Fey, I can't eat another sheet cake again. That's too much cake. So here we go. Let me just give you a heads up. We've got the U.S. Department of Home Security. All of these, by the way, also, each one of these has a chapter in P25 in how they want to redo it. So this is another heads up on what we're talking about when P25 is coming in and saying we need to change the executive branch. This is what we're talking about. So we have the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Commerce, Department of Defense, or DOD, which, by the way, apparently the TikTok does not like it when you make posts regarding this particular branch. So heads up on that. U.S. Department of the Interior, the Department of Justice, right? This one's going to be ouch. Department of Transportation, Department of Education. We'll see. See what happens here. U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, right? The EEOC here. Of course, the president. And next we've got the Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigations. This is FBI here. This is Executive Office of the President. It's its own office. Then we have Department of the Treasury, United States Agency, International Development here. Department of Agriculture here, and then the executive office set up. Well, we've got two of those. Here's one and here's two. So that's, again, just kind of a refresher on what's going on with the executive branch. Now, the executive branch, again, it is up to Congress to make the laws. So the executive orders can also make law, but only for anything that falls under their jurisdiction, which is the executive branch. And there's a lot of stuff. I mean, that's the whole thing with P25 is they're like, down with the bureaucracy. We want to get rid of the bureaucracy so that all of the power in all of these different agencies is just commanded by the president rather than everybody doing their own thing. They need to all be with what the president wants to do at all times. Yeah, you get dinged, exactly. Maybe that. You get dinged. Yeah, they don't like that. They don't like when you post about that. Whatever. Whatever. So keep that in mind. And at this point as well, that's a silly thought process. Well, I mean, that's what they're wanting to do. So they can't just come in and poof, make it happen. They have to have proper legal channels to go through. Now, I will caution everybody, when everyone was talking about the big surprise or whatever with that, what's his name? Oh my gosh, that weird little man that was in charge of the house. What was his name? He's got the weird little glasses, and he and his son have some kind of weird thing going on. What was his name again? I can't remember his name. Mike Johnson. Yes, Mike Johnson. I'm sorry. I'm bad with names. All right, so that little dude is going to be able to kind of come in here and say the legal aspects of it. He is definitely trying and has tried in the past to change law, change precedent through the Supreme Court. And, he's kind of a little slippery weasel kind of guy. So he's going to come in and try to say, well, let's go down this road legally in order to make this proper. So they are going to have some people around Mr. Trump that are going to direct him on how to kind of slide around and try to get through whatever it is their directives are. But on the other hand, we've got a lot of other people that are also attorneys and are like, what? He's from your state? Okay, yeah, I just forgot. But they have all of Congress, won't be that hard. All right, so great question. And here's the deal. I get it. But they only won by a few seats in the Senate. That's only a handful of seats. So keep that in mind. And not every single Republican is, fundamentalist. So keep that in mind. Now, it's not looking good, but they do not have a 2/3 majority. So they can't just push everything that they want through with an automatic deal. They cannot do that. And the House is even slimmer. And we don't even have the official results yet in for that. So they certainly do not have 2/3 in the House. So as far as saying nothing can be done, I wouldn't say that's true. I think we're close. I think the numbers are close. So I think it could easily be gummed up or easily be dragged out to a situation where, nothing gets done, which is what has happened over the last couple of years because there was such a slim majority in both places, right? So that's kind of how it happens. Happens if it turns into a coup. Oh my gosh, Navy vets. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to do some research. I would say, I'm hesitant to go down that road because I'm not sure exactly where our military is at, and that's really what you need. You have to have the people enforcing, going out and rejecting their oath to the Constitution. Now, I'm not sure that there are numbers of people like that in that situation, so is not going to be exactly. No supermajority in the House, no supermajority in the exactly. And that's close in the House. That's close. That's 10. So, remember that. We were also close over the last couple of years, and look and see what happened, like nothing. So even if they have a majority, they are still fighting each other because there are still people saying, let's be humane. So keep that in mind. And again, anytime you're talking about actually, I talked about this a little bit yesterday, you're trying to actually do away with the Constitution, you would be removing the power that he worked so hard to get. So if we're going to coup stuff here, I think it's going to take a lot. So keep that in mind. Can they get rid of the filibuster? No, they can try, but I'm not sure that there's enough votes there to do that. I just don't know because the majority is so slim, everybody. If this was just a slam dunk, everybody and had a red wave come through and crash on everything, yeah, we'd be in some trouble. But this was not a red wave. And no matter what the news is telling you, or, the poo-pooers are saying, well, red wave, there was not a red wave. And so without that, there are a lot of things they will be not able to do because of that. All right. Reports on extremists in the military aren't reassuring. I agree, Thomas. I agree. As well as the voting. I agree. But again, we just don't know at this point. We don't know where the leaders of our military are at, but have been reassured time and time again that their oath is to the Constitution, not to a person. So loyalty to the country, not to the president. And that is across the board for all of our military. Well, Cynthia, that's a great question. And I think, she's amongst her people. She's with her tribe, and her tribe reelected her. So that's kind of how that went down. So let's take a look then. Let's dive in to some of these executive orders. Again, the more you know, right, the more prepared you can be so that you're not shocked and you can kind of hunker down and wait this out. Because that's what we're doing, everybody. We are waiting on the clock. Now, some people, and as a quick aside, some people are saying, well, the Democratic Party needs to restructure and blah, 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 blah. Personally, I'm not getting tangled up in all of that. I'm not going to go down that road. I can't see how things could have been different. I think everybody left everything on the field that they could. I think what we have is a large group of people that didn't vote, is how I'm viewing it, and a large group of people that truly feel this is what they want for themselves. So, going forward with that, not voting, and then people that really feel this way, that's how we got to where we are right now. And so I'm not sure that that's really a Democrat issue. I think that's a people person issue. So that's where I'm coming at it from. So I won't be on here kind of like, ooh, how do we think about this? How do we, fix the party? That's really not my world. So I won't be going into that world. There are a lot of other people doing that, and that's great, but it's not for me. I'm here again. Let's talk about what the law says. So in 2017, these are Mr. Trump's executive orders. We have 55 executive orders that came down in 2017. This document is available online. This is the Federal Register, and it's the executive orders. Again, it just will list the title of the executive order here, and you can look it up. Here is the citation where you can pull that up, and then if it replaced a prior order, and then here is, how many pages it is. What I would like to do is just go through and list out which ones are still in place, which ones have been revoked. And so we can go in and do some research. A couple days ago, I put a post up saying, everybody get a notebook or open a tab because we're going to need to start taking some notes. And this will be a good time to get that notebook out and start noting which executive order sounds a bit hinky to you. So you can go and take it further and take a look at that. So here's the first one. We have 13819, adjustments to certain rates of pay. So this is going to be repeated many times. And we had a lot of federal employees where their pay was paused and things were furloughed, all right? I'm going to call this the fast food moment. And so you can remember when he had all that fast food set out in the White House because there wasn't anybody there to cook. So that's going to be... that's going to be the thing. Next, this one's, by the way, is still in play. Blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. And this one is still in place as well. So that's another executive order that is still in place. So I will just go ahead and highlight, let's use orange, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and highlight the executive orders that are still in play. Again, this would probably be about as of July. So if anything was changed in the last 3 months, if anything was revoked, I have not updated this list. So, and next we've got the federal strategy to ensure secure and reliable supplies of critical minerals. And that would be Executive Order 13817. And let's see if that was revoked. Here, we turn the page. It was not revoked. But if we look at the history, it looks like several other executive orders kind of came in and cleaned it up a little bit. And we've got originally this executive order was put into place in 1993. All right, so it goes hand in hand with that. Yes, I will be posting this on my Tube of You, everybody, as quickly as I can. Next up, this one, this executive order revoked an executive order from 1971. So this one is revising the seal of the National Credit Union Administration. So they revised it. So the seal looks different, revoking that 1971 situation. So, maybe it'd be helpful if I just kind of put a check next to the ones that I think are not necessarily going to be harmful. So here we go. Next up, we have 13815, returning the United States Refugee Admissions Program with enhanced vetting capabilities. This one was revoked by Biden. All right, it was revoked here in February 4th of 2021. So I'm going to put a red star next to the ones that I think are going to be making a comeback. So we'll just kind of note that. So this is one you may want to look up. You may want to look up and see exactly what was involved in this one. Again, this is 13815. All right, so everyone knows my process here of how I'm going through these orders. So next up, we have amending Executive Order 13223 here, and that was just amending originally a 2001 executive order. So we're changing that around a little bit. Next, we have promoting healthcare choice and competition across the United States. So healthcare choice and competition, let's just look real quick and see. That one has not been revoked either. All right, hold on, everybody. I'm having a wardrobe malfunction issue. Hold on, so let me answer some Q&As here while I get myself sorted out. Yikes! Yikes here. Again, each one of these executive orders is online. You can pull it up. They're not that long. They're 1 to 4 pages long, pretty much. So, hold on here. I've got to get myself sorted. There we go. Yeah, it really is VC. And I have to say, too, I will be starting to make my way over there. I know I keep saying that, but I mean it for reals. I'm going to be heading over to the Tube of You, and the day that I'm going to be doing that is going to be on Wednesdays. So my Wednesday night lives, if I can go on Wednesdays, over on the Tube of You. So I will have that one week. Okay, wardrobe malfunction sorted. Now we'll go forward. Here we go. All right, next up, we've got promoting healthcare choice, right? So I'm not sure. This is one I would want to look up. This will be one I'll be double checking on to see what kind of an impact that would have at this point. Again, it's not been revoked by the information I have here, but I want to take a look at that and see what's going on. So here's our next one. We have a revocation of executive order creating labor management forums, and that revoked an executive order from 2009 and an executive order from 2015. So this would be a revocation of one of Obama's executive orders. So this to me would be another question. It's still in play though. It's still in play. It's not been revoked by Biden. So that one's still open. Next, we have continuance of certain federal advisory committees. And this one revokes some that were in 2015, so another Obama revocation. And then July 19th, 2017 also is set out here. So just going to keep that in mind. This was signed in in September of 2017, supersedes another executive order put into place in July, so 2 months later. So they had one, and then they wanted to come back in and change it again. Next up, we have imposing additional sanctions with respect to Korea. Again, got to watch my terminology here. So we've got additional sanctions in place. Let's see what he did here. We've got there's another executive order in 2008, another one in 2010, another one in 2015, and another one in 2016, and then 2005. So it looks like these executive orders haven't been revoked, but this is in addition. So we might want to take a look at that. We might want to take a look and see what was in place there. It has not been revoked. Next up, we have Executive Order 13809, restoring state, tribal, and local law enforcement's access to life-saving equipment and resources. This one's a red flag here. This one was revoked in 2022 by Biden. It had revoked a previous executive order in 2015. So this one's maybe worth your time to pull and take a look at exactly what this means. Okay, so again, this is the table of contents that I'm kind of creating for everybody here. Rather than reading through each and every single one of these executive orders, we're going through and getting the highlights and then leaving it up to you. If you're interested in what that executive order says, then you can go and pull it up online. All right, we're creating our table of contents. Next up, we have this one, 13808. Additional sanctions with respect to the situation in Venezuela. Some more sanctions in Venezuela. And it says see executive order from 2015. So it looks like it's additional information. This executive order is still in play, as are these additional sanctions. So this one is still in play at this point. What's the number for this one? This one is 13808 for Venezuela. Is that the one you're wondering about? 13808 here. Okay. The last one. All right, the last one. Yeah, this one regarding healthcare choice and competition. This one is Executive Order 13813. 13813. Yep. This one I think is worth taking a look at for sure, everybody. Anything about the healthcare is always good to take a look at. All right, so moving on, we have Executive Order 13807. Thought it was on the back of the current page. Oh, sorry. Here we go. 13809. This one, restoring state, tribal, and local law enforcement's access to life-saving equipment and resources. That one. Do you think that they're going to appeal ACA? The Affordable Care Act. So the Affordable Care Act can only be revoked through Congress because it's federal statutes, unless the Supreme Court rules it unconstitutional. And the Supreme Court, I believe it's been the Supreme Court, has come in multiple times and said it is constitutional. So we have a whole batch of case law, actually from when Mr. Trump was in the White House last time, where certain things were tried and the Supreme Court has pulled them down and said, no, it's not constitutional. So take a look at that with the Affordable Care Act. There's limitations on exactly how much federal legislation or federal laws can be pulled by the executive branch. Before January 20th, can we go over the safeguards Biden put into place to protect our NATO alliance? Yes, we can. Let me make a note of that so I don't forget. I thought I had seen a post from Canada recently on that, but all right, so I got it. Next up, again, everyone, we're just kind of creating our table of contents of things to start looking at, and also assessing which of his executive orders are still in place and which ones were revoked by Biden. All right, here we go. Now, where was I? Sorry, everybody, where was I? I'm flipped around. Just a minute. Here we go. All right, next one. Establishing discipline and accountability in the environmental review and permitting process for infrastructure projects. This revoked an executive order from 2015, so that was an Obama one, and it was revoked by Joe Biden on the first day of his office. So this is going to be another big one. This one's going to be a big hit. All right, so I would say definitely note this. Executive Order 13807. All right, yikes. I thought it was Congress who created the safeguard for NATO. It could be. I know, Gold Eyes, you're right. I had to go early. My internet's been weird, so I had to kind of MacGyver a situation where I could steal a little bit of time from everybody. I'm on a couple of different things here so that I could even go live. So sorry about that. Oh, what's that one? Yes. So this is Executive Order 13807. This is the one I would say is very important. This is a very important executive order. It was revoked by Biden on the first day of office, establishing discipline and accountability in the environmental review and permitting process for infrastructure projects. This was a big one. Yeah, he did, VC. That's so funny that you said that. He did. Oh, and he's not very happy about it. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, this one's a big one, everybody. All right, so that's huge right here. This could very easily come back on the first day. So here we go. Another one. This one is still in place. Executive Order 13806, assessing and strengthening the manufacturing and defense industrial base and supply chain resiliency of the United States. This one is still in place. This one has not been revoked. Next, we've got establishing a presidential advisory council on infrastructure. So there's an advisory council on infrastructure that was revoked. Now, hold on. This was signed July 19th of 2017, and it was revoked by him, by his own next executive order in September of 2017. So this one's actually gone. So that's interesting. We appreciate your sacrifice. Well, I'll tell him. Oh, that's funny. All right, and then we have the next executive order, 13804. And that takes us over here. Let's see, it looks like we're cut off a little bit here. So, I don't really have everything I need for that. I'll have to print that one out. We'll skip through that one, and I will put a question mark next to that one. Sorry about that, printer. Executive Order 13799 is also still working, is still in play. This has not been revoked. Establishment of a Presidential Advisory Committee on Election Integrity. So that's not been revoked. That's still ongoing here. And next we have promoting free speech and religious liberty. That is still in play. That has not been revoked. And that was signed in May of 2017. So that's has not been touched. Next, we have 13797, Establishment of Office of Trade and Manufacturing Policy. That was revoked in April. So what? Hold on a minute. See executive order here. Oh, this goes hand in hand with another executive order. So this one I think is questionable. We could probably take a look at that one, but it's still in play. It's not been revoked yet. And next we've got 13796, addressing trade agreement violations and abuses. That one also has not been revoked, everybody. This one is still also in play. Next, 13795. We've got implementing an America First offshore energy strategy. This is going to be a big one, everyone. This one is, in my opinion, I think this one's going to come back. This one may be back on that first day with some tweaks. So remember, if you can go back in time and remember that America First stuff when it came to the offshore stuff, that's what this one was. It was revoked by Biden. Here, let's see. Here we go. We had some additions made to it even just in May of 2023. So this is the executive order that made changes to it. All right. What's the number? Yep. This is executive order 13795. This one here. Implementing an America First offshore energy strategy. Thank you for getting the troublemaker off the counter. Everybody said thank you for helping me MacGyver stuff. Oh, and he's leaving. He's got the cat. He's like, I'm out of here. I gotta go. Oh, my goodness gracious. Right. America First Offshore Energy. Yep. All right. I was distracted. Where were we? All right. Next up. All right. Next, we've got Executive Order 13803. I'll tell him he said that. Oh my gosh. I tell you what, the patience he has had with me over the last few days. Oh my gosh, he's like, should I be afraid now? No? How about now? I'm like, you're fine. Oh my goodness. All right. Executive Order 13803 is reviving the National Space Council. Oh my goodness. Space Council, that was revoked December of 2021. So Space Council, I don't know if that's going to be important enough to bring it back. Maybe you can have a Space Council going. All right, well, I don't know with the Elon Musk, right? He's into the space stuff. It could be something. Maybe he'll be in charge of that. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine what would happen if Elon Musk is like, I'm now in charge of NASA? Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. I can't. I need to take a drink of tea, everybody. I just freaked myself out. Hold on. I'll be right back. Oh my goodness. All right. That is not helpful. Let's move away from that. Move away. No. Sorry, everybody. Okay, moving on. That's not helpful. All right, Executive Order 13802, amending Executive Order 13597 here. So we don't know what that one is at this point. 13801, we have expanding apprenticeships in America. This was revoked by Biden in February of 2021. So this one might be another one with some pretty significant problems. We'll just kind of we'll just note that one. So 13801, expanding apprenticeships in America. And I think I actually made a note on that one. 1301. No, I did not. Okay. Nope, not yet. The major harmful ones, we've only got a few. So executive order here, strengthening the cybersecurity of federal networks and critical infrastructure. Let's see if that one's been revoked. That one has not been revoked. So this one is still in play. This one is still ongoing. Oh, hold on. This is page 5, 6. Yep, ongoing. So I think we're doing these a little bit out of order. I apologize, everybody. I'm doing my best. Here we go. Executive Order 13794, establishing the American Technology Council. That one's not been revoked. Next one, 13793. Do you think he will do the Muslim ban again? I do. I do. I think it's going to be, it's going to need to be reworked because of the last case. The last case that they had in front of the Supreme Court regarding that ban, there were several court cases that had changed it. So I think it'll be rewritten. I don't think it'll be exactly the same. But at this point, the other thing too is it seems like the target has changed. So although, in 2016, it was, that particular group of people, but we have another group of people now that are really being targeted. So it looks to me, my guess would be is that new group that they're focusing on would be the ones to have the next travel ban on them. So that's my true thought, is that rather than the Muslim ban, which will still probably exist in some form, they're going to now switch to their current group that they don't like, and it'll be a ban on them. So kind of keep your heads up on that. Won't they just add it? Which one? I'm not sure what you mean. Add the executive order for the Muslim ban or for the new people ban? Not sure. Sorry about that. They do have to be careful with the language though, because the Supreme Court checked them a couple times on that. On that language, so they have to be careful about it. All right, Executive Order 13793 is improving accountability and whistleblower protection at the Department of Veterans Affairs. Oh, hey, that's okay. That one still has not been revoked. Then next we have 13792, immigrants who drive for companies that support students. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's going to be some problems. If you remember too, everyone, there were a lot of bans when it came to certain people coming in and going to school here. So going to another country for their college education. We had some bans on some of those visas, or some pauses, furloughs, if you will. And that may very well come back into play. So, all right, review of designations under the Antiquities Act. This one was revoked on the day that Biden took office. So this is going to be another big one, everyone. This is going to be another huge one. So this one is 13792 is the executive order for that. Going to eventually come for the 8th. Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think so. And, I think too, everybody, one thing to remember, and from what I've seen, is I think that, honestly, in all honesty, I think religion absolutely played a part in this last election, and a bigger part than I think was planned. And that does not, that's something to take into consideration. Next, we've got Executive Order 13791, enforcing statutory prohibitions on federal control of education. All right, that's kind of a big one, and that one has not been revoked. Enforcing statutory prohibitions on federal control of education. So what they're saying is that we have statutory provisions regarding federal control on education that weren't being followed. And this has not been revoked. This one is still in place. So, that's not changed. They go right. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know exactly. Yeah. Again, there's I have to stop myself before I say certain things. So here we go. Executive Order 13790, promoting agriculture and rural prosperity in America. So that one was revoked in June. It revoked another executive order from 2011. This one is still in play. This one is still going, everyone. So we'll just keep that there. Okay. I'm really trying to, again, show you that there are many of his executive orders that have been in place all this time. So even if you stand today, many of his executive orders are still good. They're still good law. And I'm not sure if that's comforting or not, but the ones that we need to keep an eye on are the ones that were revoked. And Biden has not revoked all of them. So, just kind of keep that in mind. Next, we have establishing the President's Commission on Combating De-Addiction and the Opioid Crisis. Again, that one's still a go. Next, 13783, promoting energy independence and economic growth. This one revoked a 2013 executive order and was revoked on the day Biden took office. So I think this is going to be another big one here. Again, I'm judging based off of literally the ones that he revoked the day he came into the White House, that Biden revoked. I'm focusing on those to see what kind of situation we're going to be at again. So this is 13783. That one I think is worth noting. I even starred it. I put a star next to it. When he did those, he had okay people by his side. Well, right. Yeah, he did. I mean, now it's like anybody's guess, you know. So Executive Order 13782 was a revocation of federal contracting executive orders here, and that's still in play. This one, comprehensive plan for reorganizing the executive branch. Well, that sounds very P25 now, doesn't it? Let's take a look and see what the status is. That's page 8 or page 9. And this is page 10, and that's still in place. That's not been revoked at this point. So, a comprehensive plan for reorganizing the executive branch. I think that's worth noting. Right. Here we go on page 10. So we're flipping the page. Protecting the nation from foreign tea entry here into the United States. That has also not been revoked by Joe Biden. That's still up and running. Next, we have White House initiative to promote excellence and innovation at historically Black college and universities. And that was superseded by another piece of legislation here in 2021. So this one is revoking a prior one from 2010 and reworking the language is what I am imagining here. Next up, we have a 13778, restoring the rule of law, federalism, and economic growth by reviewing the waters of the United States. This was revoked when Biden came into office that same day. So this one's going to be another big one. We're going to definitely have some Clean Water Act issues and environmental issues. Absolutely. So this is Executive Order 13778. That's the one where they tried giving credit. Right. Exactly. Yep. So, again, this one I think is going to be a big one for the environment. Oh, my goodness. And next we have 13777, enforcing the regulatory reform agenda. And this one was revoked by Biden his first day of office. So this is another one. I have 2 stars next to it. So that means it's super important. So pull this one too. Again, we're doing a table of contents to take a look at executive orders. So this one was 2017 in March. So we've got Executive Order 13777. I think this one will be also another important one. Again, because it was revoked by Biden on his first day in office. Next, we've got Task Force on Crime Reduction and Public Safety. This one's still up and running. We've got next 13775, providing an order of succession within the Department of Justice. Oh, that's interesting. So providing an order of succession, I may pull that one myself. It's only 2 pages. So I'm going to say, making a note here so that I pull it as well. So this was signed in 2017 and was, there was another executive order here in March that revoked it. Wait a minute. So this one revoked a prior one, and then he revoked it himself 1 month later. So we're going to have to take a look. So this one has been revoked, but we don't know exactly what happened. Maybe he revoked it because he got a list, and he's like, okay, thanks for the list. Now we don't need the order anymore. It's interesting. Can you say that one again, please? This one, the order of succession for the Justice Department. This is a mess how he had all these Oh, I know. Oh my gosh. Yes, I know. True story. So this one is 13775 here, if that's the one that you are referring to, for order of succession in the Department of Justice. And also, everyone, this is in P25, this whole thing. What order and how the DOJ needs to be set up has its own chapter. We will be going through that later on. And next up, we have preventing violence against federal, state, tribal, and local law enforcement officers. That's a good one, still in place. here, not revoked. And enforcing federal law with respect to transnational criminal organizations and preventing international trafficking. This one also is still in place. Core principles for regulating the United States financial system. Let's see, has this one been revoked? Let's take a look here. This is page 11, and this one's 12. It's been revoked. Oh, he revoked it himself. All right, so this one has been revoked, and he revoked it later. All right, so this is 13772. Again, that would be in alignment with P25 here. It's a good thing I've read P25 like 20 times. I can tell you which ones are involved here. Next up, we've got 13771, reducing regulation and controlling regulatory costs. This was revoked on Biden's first day in office. So this one's also going to be a big one, I think, that will come back probably on day one. Next, ethics commitments by executive branch appointees. This is also very P25, superseding a 2009, so Obama piece here. And it is still in play. Next, we have 13769, protecting the nation from foreign tea entry into the United States. This one is still in play. This one was not revoked either. That is still going on. P25 next to them, then tally to see how far he had gotten. Well, yeah, that would be good. That's going to take some time. I'm going to need some time. Right now, I'm just going off of my memory. But yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah, this, again, this would be part of the Homeland Security piece of P25 if you're interested on that. And next, enhancing public safety in the interior of the United States. So that's the Department of the Interior, and it was revoked on day one. So here's another one that I think will be a really big one. And this is Executive Order 13768. 13768. We're going to need a color-coded spreadsheet. You are right. You are correct on that one. All right, here we go. Next up is a big one here too, to keep in mind. I'm not sure why I didn't color code this one properly. So this is Executive Order 13767, and this is border security and immigration enforcement improvements. This was signed right around when he took office, and it was revoked just a few days after Biden took office. This will be another huge one. This is one of the border security pieces that he's been talking about. All right, so 13767 had to do with border security and immigration enforcement. So that's that. And then expediting environmental reviews and approval for high priority infrastructure projects. Yeah, I remember when that one got signed, I was like, what? That one again was right around when he took office, and it was revoked again on the day that Biden came into office. So this will be another one, pretty big one as well. So kind of rushing through this basically, you have to go in and have environmental impact statement when it comes to kind of the things that we're doing here. There's any of that stuff. And so here we've got an environmental review, high priority infrastructure projects. And he's saying, well, let's hurry up and move that along. Yeah, so I think that's going to be a big one. And because it has a star next to it, I know I'm right. Next up, we have, so that one was 13766. Then we have 13765. Minimizing the economic burden of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act pending repeal. So, pending repeal. That means the repeal never happens. Pending repeal. This is just language to, whip everybody up into a frenzy. I think this one is very important to take a look at as well. So, I'm not sure if this is part of his concepts. So this is Executive Order 13765, potentially part of the concepts. It was revoked the first day Biden came into office. So I think this is probably going to be worth taking a look at as well when it comes to the Affordable Care Act here. 13765. Oh my goodness. Pending appeal, right. Pending appeal. That means that they've been told you can't do it. And so they're still trying to go forward and do it anyway. But I don't know where that appeal went or repeal because, of course, we've got concepts of thoughts and prayers. Exactly, because Biden revoked it on the first day. All right, so there you go. There you go. That's 2017, everybody. So let's just kind of recap here again while my MacGyvered Wi-Fi is going. Let's take a look. So 2017 executive orders here by Mr. Trump. And the big ones to watch out for here. Oh, so cute. Oh my gosh. Oh, hello, Shadow. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming. We have Executive Order 13815, everyone. So you can write these down. These are probably the big ones to pay most attention to. 13815. This is the vetting one that we've got here. The next one that's questionable is going to be healthcare choice, and that's 13813. Just 2017. Yeah, that's it. Yep, let's get ready. Ready to rumble. Okay, we've got 13812 is questionable. Labor management forums here. 13811 is also questionable. 13810 is questionable here. Another really huge one is restoring state, tribal, and local law enforcement's access to life-saving equipment and resources. 13809 here. That's going to be a big one. All right, this one's got a huge red flag on it. And 4 is over here. I think I'm flipping these backwards, everybody. I already went through this one. Did I already go through this one? I don't think I did. Here we go. Now let's flip again. We have a 13807 here. I don't think I did. Here we go. Now let's flip again. We have a 13807 here. I don't think I did. Here we go. Now let's flip again. We have a 13807 here. I don't think I did. Here we go. Now let's flip again. We have a 13807 here, establishing discipline and accountability for environmental review and permitting the process for infrastructure here. Discipline and accountability. So that's 13807. Yes, thank you. And then we've got 13804. Strengthening the cybersecurity of the federal network, looks like. Now, okay, then that moves us to page, let me flip it over. Here we go, here's page 5. I just need to flip it back over. Yes, and then I'm not sure about the Space Council. I think I started freaking myself out about it, but 13803 is the Space Council situation. 13801, expanding apprenticeships in America. So that's 13801, and then we'll flip to page 6 is the next one. 13797 is questionable, and this one is still in place. So that's why there's a question there. You might want to review that one to see exactly what the restrictions are. Trade agreement violations and abuses. This is also still in play, and this is Executive Order 13796 here. So trade agreement violations. Next, we have 13795, implementing America First offshore energy strategy. So that's going to be an environmental issue here. 13795. So that's page 6, and then we'll move to page 7. 13792. Designations under the Antiquities Act. Then we have that one's still in play. the, oh my gosh, the Buy America and Hire American, Buy American, Hire American. That one here is 13,788. That's going to be a big one. Again, that was one of the ones that Biden revoked the very first day he was in office. Buy America and Hire American. Remember that? I think, wasn't he like going into a semi and honking the horn when he showed us that one? Oh, he likes the big trucks that he can sit in. Yay. Yeah, Suze. Buy American, Hire American. Everybody remember that? Yep. All right. Next, we have promoting energy independence and economic growth, and that's Executive Order 13783. 13783. And then restoring the rule of law, federalism and economic growth, 13778. 13778. Next, 13777, enforcing the regulatory reform agenda. This again, that's P25 right here. I probably could go through and just put P25 and then what chapter you can find it in. That would be helpful, probably. This one I need to pull myself. This one was also revoked. Here we go. Reducing regulation and controlling regulatory costs. That's 13771. Regulation, controlling regulation costs here. That's going to be a big one. Next up, enhancing public safety in the interior. This is going to be another huge one. Oh my gosh. So this is 13768. That's going to be a big, we're going to take a hit on that one, everyone. And then next, border security and immigration. That's 13767 here. 13767, expediting environmental reviews. That's 13766. And that's going to be a big environmental one here. So big border security and big environmental for these two executive orders. Next, minimizing the economic burden of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act pending repeal. So, and I've got to take a look at exactly what that is because I think there's a case that goes along with this, if not two, actually. This is Executive Order 13765. So this has to do with the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. So the last three that he signed in here, or that are listed here in the Federal Register, all three of those are going to be big hits. So that's an overview, everybody, for 2017. So do we think, was this helpful? Let me see. You're funny. Was this helpful, everybody? Was this, should I do another one of these for another year? Which, I can't do tonight, but can put it on my list of things to go through. Yes, it was helpful. Okay. Again, too, everyone, just to kind of, reduce the height of the fire, of the burning of the country. There are many of these that are still in play. They're still up and running. Not every single executive order he did was revoked. In fact, in 2017, there are multiples in here that were not. But then again, also remember 2017, he and his team didn't really know what they were doing. So knowledge is power, absolutely. So there is that. And again, when we start to look at these, keep in mind those issues and questions everybody has, like what's going to happen to my veterans benefits? What's going to happen to the Affordable Care Act? What's going to happen with immigrants? What's going to happen with the environmental protections? All of those, you can get some idea of the extent of power in his executive orders by looking from his previous administration. And that gives you kind of a heads up on where their intent is. Helps when I'm watching more hyperbolic. That's funny. Like the idea of correlating chapter. Yeah, exactly, with P25. Yeah, we can do that. I think that will be helpful too. But we do have quite a few in 2018 that's kind of are going to hit harder. But again, it's like this one, establishment of the White House Faith and Opportunity Initiative. So And these were all in a year when Republicans had control of Congress. Exactly right, Daisy May. Exactly right. New budget coming out with cuts to disability and Social Security. Yes. And again, that is another thing to take a look at. And there is a level of power that is set out within the executive branch regarding money and certain things, but the majority and how money is distributed goes through Congress. So we do have to keep that in mind. There will be, and I'm planning to put a whole post together kind of explaining what kind of money, because the president has the money to run his office, the executive branch. He's got some cash in there to work with, some to pull some and to toss some. But there are some other things that are just completely off the table. So I'll need to look up. Right now I'm looking up the statutes that set up the different pieces of what they can do. Disability, yeah. And again, last year the Congress was like, well, we're not going to mess with that. But then on the other hand, Congress didn't get much done last year or the year before. And for me, I'm predicting that to be pretty much or close to what happens here. Even though there is a majority in the Senate and we're close in the House, there are only a few people. We have a few people that can go across the aisle. So we don't have any kind of super majority. And I want you to keep that in mind. So anything that does go through Congress, of course, also can be repealed. Keep that in mind too. So it might only work for a couple of years until the next Congress comes in and they repeal it, which is absolutely within their authority to do. So keep that in mind. We may have short-term injuries, but long-term, if that's what the American people want and flip Congress, then it's possible for us to pull those statutes. But if the American people don't want that, then we'll talk about what happens in that road later, at a later date. And the binder's still missing. Oh my gosh, that's right. That's right. Oh my gosh. It would take time and Congress controls the funding. Yeah, exactly. Nothing can be done immediately. Once a piece of law is signed in, it still takes a while before it actually, activates. It doesn't immediately take effect, usually, the day that it's signed by the president. So I'm losing faith in our society. Well, the positive is that you had some faith in our society to start with, and that's okay. I mean, I'm sorry that it's lost, but at least you had it. I laugh because I'm thinking of a post that I just saw not too long ago of a woman from another country, and she was kind of explaining how, because she had been through a lot of hardships in her country, and she was giving some advice, and she said the first thing to remember is that you don't need hope in order to go forward. And I was like, that is so true, everybody. You don't have to have hope to move forward. The hope can come later. The hope can just be put to the side for a little bit. You still got to keep going forward. So I thought that was genius. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm just saying there may be a few dark days, but my prediction is we're going to have a tough year, and then we're going to start to see some changes, because honestly, I think that year will show those that were interested in the person in the White House, this is what you can look forward to. And I think a year is really all we're going to take. If we're not running on hope, what are we running on? Survival at this point. We're surviving. We are just hunkering down and surviving. Need to teach the people how to research information and fact check. Absolutely, Navy vet. Absolutely. We definitely have some information problems here. We have some credibility and some tall tales that people are going down with. So I think that's also what will be helpful for this next year. Will be, here's some information, let's get yourself sorted out. Seeing so much support from other countries. Oh, absolutely. For sure. I can, and one of the posts that I've done on my other page where I don't necessarily have a filter. One of the things I was saying too is that this country, we're really young. It's still a pretty young country. We're only a couple hundred plus years old. And as a country, if you go over into Europe or over into Asia or the Eastern Europe, that's they've been there a long, long, long time, and maybe the governments have shifted and changed, but this country's still very, very young. So we've got a lot of things to go through, right? Still. How did Kamala lose? I hope somebody's investigating this. And I think that's a valid question. I think honestly, everybody, at the end of the day, there were millions of Americans that did not vote. That, I think, is the answer to your question. There were millions of Americans that did not vote. And I know some people are wondering about, well, can I check my vote? What's happened to my ballot? And some people have asked me to do posts on it. And for me, I look at how the law's written, and they still are counting votes. I think it's great. Go check your ballot, make sure your vote was counted. Unless you put it into a machine, then you can't really check it because it's like, in the system already. But if you put it into the machine and the light turned green, that means it was counted. But sure, check your vote. Make sure it was counted. That's absolutely so important. But at the end of the day, I'm waiting for those secretaries of states to tell me, was there something hinky going on? And if they tell me no, then, we move forward. So far, I've not seen anything talking about too much hinkiness. But also, the deadline for electors isn't until December. Still counting votes. Exactly. And none of it affects her. Well, right. I mean, Thomas, that's exactly what we're talking about. Low voter turnout. And they already, right. Can't get my hopes up and take another, oh, I know. And again, honestly, right now we are going forward on projections. And according to what I've seen, the projections look pretty accurate here. I'm not, again, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying, nothing will change, because I think everybody needs to, own, this is like my vote. I need to make sure it was counted. Absolutely. But I'm not hearing any people actually in the system that work in the system saying that there was something weird going on. So until I hear something like that, I'm in the road of, yep, we're kind of, yep. The projections are looking like it. It does seem suspicious. It does. And I think also when we have this level of fear, you want to grab onto any kind of hope possible. So I think, people asking questions and wondering about different things, that's fine. And that's another way of grieving. But for me, if you want my opinion on it, I will wait until the professionals come forward and tell me that there was a problem. So that's where I'm coming from. Lost my faith that good people exceed the number of bad people. Yeah. Well, again, I think there is, you can do harm by doing nothing. And I think people should be reminded of that. I think that is a key piece that was missing out of this whole situation. By doing nothing, you have caused an enormous amount of harm. So I think it's good to remind people of that. Sure, go for it. I think if you want to look into it and you want to double check it, you always go for it. Absolutely. No proof of, yeah, exactly, Navy vet. And that's where I'm at. I'm looking at the professionals in each state, and if they said there was something wrong, go look into it. But for me, I'm going to need a professional to come forward and say, this wasn't right. Until then, I, just got to keep going forward. Yeah, there was no secret. I agree, VC. There was no secret. It's tough, everybody. It's tough, especially with Have you noticed how absolutely ridiculous some of the people who are bragging are? Have you noticed that? They seem pretty harsh. And something also that I think is interesting is that no red hat in any power position has stepped up and said, chill out, guys, or be respectful for winning. And I think that the other party won, that would have been the first thing they said was, we got to reach across the aisle, so calm down. But we're not seeing that, and we never did. And I think that that's pretty much their ideology wrapped up. Angriest winners. Well, that's the thing. Is nothing, in my opinion, there is nothing we could do or say that's going to make them happy. They win this, they're like, woohoo, we're so happy about it. But yet, I'm not going to be happy until I make other people that aren't like me miserable, or until I get these things. And what's going to happen is they're going to slowly see that their expectations are beyond reality. And the happy that they're looking for is because they themselves have some issues going on. They have no idea how to actually be good leader. Well, exactly right. 2020 allowed more mail-in voting, if that's why many more voted last election. Could be. It's absolutely possible. Although I think, again, there's a lot of intentional people that did not vote and have their justifications for it. I've met several people that are like, I don't want to have anything to do with this anymore. I don't like it. Like, that's fine. That's your right. Just like it's your right to waive your right to remain silent. You can waive that all you want. You can waive your right to vote. And again, do some pretty serious damage. Claws are beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah. I was, I'm getting my emotions out through my nails. Yes, indeed. So again, everyone, I'm not going to come on here. I try to remain positive, but I'm also, I'm not going to be spinning fairy tales. This is going to be rough. It's going to be rough, everyone. It's going to be tough. But again, we go through rough times and we come out the other side. So you just have to kind of hang on and keep going forward. All right, everyone. Yes, tea break. Actually, I've got to close it down. My friends. My MacGyvered system here is about ready to fall apart. Yeah, this is their lesson to learn. And, so be it. I will be back again quite a bit this week. Again, Wednesday, I'm hoping to do, if I go live at all on a Wednesday, it will be on the Tube of You. So keep that up in your mind. I will be back. I'm hoping to come back on tomorrow around 7, my usual time. I should have things up and running better over here. So hopefully tomorrow by 7, if all goes well, I'll be back in it, and we'll continue reading through P25 as well as reading through the Constitution. So those are the primary lives that I'll be doing over the next couple of weeks. So take care, everybody, and thank you all, the subscribers. I am so very, very thankful, and my moderators that have been working so hard. Have a wonderful night, everyone, and I'll see you all very, very soon. If anyone has questions about this live and you're not a subscriber, just put the questions on my latest post, and I'll get to it as quick as I can. Take